how would you like to achieve your first million? And today we have Jim, you're here for a treat. We have more than a serial entrepreneur, someone that has been on charge of turning around companies when they are in distress in different industries. So he's the one of the partners at ACM Capital. So Jim, tell us, what are the 5 steps that you recommend entrepreneurs in order to make the first million?
Welcome to Unstoppable Podcast with Harry Sardinas, inspiring conversations with influential millionaires, investors, thought leaders, entrepreneurs who are making a massive difference with their innovative products and services, and sharing the challenges and wisdom of how they sold their first million.
Sure. So the first step is to find your market. What is that market? Find it, and find it with passion. The second step is to understand what it takes to get in that market. What are the barriers to entry? What are the competitors in that market? The third step is to determine how much capital you need to get into that market. Is it a small amount? Is it a large amount? What is that capital? The fourth step is to determine the resources, human resources that you might need, or IT resources that you might need in order to get that business off the ground. And lastly, you want to have an infrastructure set up such that you protect yourself from a legal standpoint.
Lack of a speed of implementation when it comes to change is the key, Jim, where companies that they are doing so well, all of a sudden, they get distressed. There is something that could happen. Could be COVID, could be 9/11, could be an advance in technology like Uber. I'm telling this because in my own experience, my own traditional business, my first business was in property. We managed to sell over 5 million, and one day Airbnb came and and if you don't respond to change fast, and you very quickly you can become in the distressed company, or you have to do what we did, that we little by little de-escalate the company because it's something happens. So what is the advice that you give to companies that face this huge challenge? Something huge happened, and all of a sudden, very quickly, sometime in month, sometimes can take even a month, all your reality disappear, and now you are in a huge distress, and after you need someone qualifies like you to go and fix the problem. So what?
No, it's a great question, and it's an age-old challenge, right? So here we are, we're almost 25 years from 9/11.
The challenge is always there. Yeah.
Yeah. And so, but that's a great place to talk, because when I stepped into a company right after 9/11, this is a company well over 100 million in revenue. They were doing exceptionally well in South Florida, and 9/11 happened. And, without anything that they did wrong, right?
Mm-hmm.
The industry collapsed. The aviation industry collapsed. And so we had 900 employees, or almost 1,000 employees. And overnight, we had to trim that employee base to 500. Wow. And figure out a way to survive. And in that case, the key was to survive, right? The key was
absolutely
to make sure that you had enough cash flow coming in that you could support that lower employee base and buy yourself time until you could get back, or the industry could start to return to some form of normalization.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, so people can panic in that situation, especially entrepreneurs that with no experience. For me, it happened to me too many times that to this time is not even something drastic happen in the market or whatever. Of course, you are with experience, you can take it. But I remember when it happened to me the first time, that you panic a lot, right? You say, oh my God, what is going to happen with all my work? What is going to happen with my employees? What is going to happen with my clients? What is going to happen with this? So it's shocking because you feel responsible for everybody and all of this. Exactly like you said, without doing anything wrong, something changed dramatically. And all of a sudden you are, you don't know what to do.
I absolutely agree with you. And it's,
It happened to me
you know,
several times in several business that I own. Yes, it's not one
but
time,
but but with
several.
but you know, and as painful as that may have been for you, right? And I'm sure it was painful. As painful as that is, you
Difficult, tough.
gain
You have to
you gain
spin.
knowledge and experience from each one of those, so that you avoid the pitfalls that may have come to you in those instances, right? So be grateful, right, that you've had those experiences, because hey, look, you know, Harlan
Maybe the
Sanders.
reason, Jim, that we're speaking now is just for the last one. Like, for example, I was doing a speakers at least. We were doing events all over the world.
Mhm,
I was doing this conference, which is, in hotels with
right.
audiences live, and I was doing in London, Singapore, Peru, Mexico, United Kingdom, thousands and thousands of people waiting for us. We were doing a speaking tour, so we will arrive to a country and visit different cities in the Chamber of Commerce, and all of a sudden COVID came, and that's it. Overnight. What you do with that, and the reason that we have, this podcast is one of the outcomes of the huge pivot that we have to do. In the meantime, you said something very important: buying time. Now, for example, things are stable, and we can go back to do live events again.
That's
And guess
right.
what? Now I have a podcast, and I met amazing people like you that never happened to me before. So something always happened. But in that period, Jim, because you're the expert, how you stay calm, and how, because it's a great pivot that we have to do from doing live events now to do
Sure.
a podcast and to be online
Right.
for 2 3 months. Okay, I gain 250,000 followers. My LinkedIn profile, on my social media, I don't even knew my password of my social media before. I don't know it now. But we start to pay attention to this, and we have a team now that increase our presence online, something that we didn't care before. We didn't care, we didn't need to, because we have live events in a room with full of people anyway. Who
Right.
cares about social? Who cares about Zoom? Who cares about podcast? Who cares about
Right.
Facebook? Who cares about the social media? Who cares about YouTube? And all of a sudden something happened, and we had to pivot 100%
That's right.
to the new things, to now come back to what we were doing before, slowly, slowly, slowly. So my question to you, because you have done this several times, how you stay calm, and how you persuade your team, because sometimes the pivots that you have to do in order to buy time to sustain this sometimes is so far from what the company actually was doing in the first place. How you articulate that to the team, and how you convince yourself, first of all, that that's the way, because sometimes, I mean, I've done it, so I can tell you from my own experience that sometimes you're doing A and you have to change to not to C, not to D, maybe to Y, far, in order to
It's a great
survive.
question. It's a great question. And I tell you that the key is just what you asked. How do you stay calm? If you have employees around you and a crisis hits, be it COVID, be it 9/11. I had a situation in Eastern Europe in the 90s where I was running a fast food company. Actually, I was second in command at that company at the time, and the I went away for vacation, and the night before I came back, the senior management team had all gone out for drinks and dinner. And again, this is 1993, so this is a long time
Wow.
ago in Eastern Europe, when the wall had just fallen, and the place was really um,
Changing.
yes, and there was a lot of things happening, and my team was involved in a riot, not because of them, but because of these other
Mm-hmm.
these Russians that came in, and
Oh my
and
God.
my guys were ambushed and beaten. beaten. So I had at the time 200 employees around the country. And so the
So
next
next
morning,
day, OUS11,
yeah,
nobody can come to work.
nobody can come to work.
Oh
And
my
so
God.
I come from vacation and I step in.
Oh
Now,
my
mind you,
God. And you're
I
alone
was
there.
I wasn't even the CEO at the time. So I walked in and realized everybody's looking at me to figure out what to do.
Oh my
Everybody's looking
God.
at me to figure out where are we going. So you ask the great question, how do you stay calm? The way you stay calm is you are not looking inward at that point. You're looking outward and you're making sure that the people around you that are looking at you, right, to figure out what's going to happen, you need to assure them that it's all going to be okay. We
But you
got
don't
this.
even know. You don't even
You
know.
don't know. You don't know. That's the
Tell
funny
me
part.
about it. When COVID came, I'm talking with my
I
employees.
know.
I'm
I
telling the
know.
guys we're gonna make this work, and don't worry, we're gonna get paid. I'm telling them at the same time. I'm telling them. I'm thinking, oh my God, what am I gonna do
No,
now?
no, I know. I know.
Uh, it's tough,
Honestly,
Jim.
my experience has taught me time and time again that the most creative time are those times. If you allow them to be. If you panic or if you look inward and say, "Oh my God, what are we going to?" When you start to do that, what happens? Then everything shuts down. Your creativity shuts down. All of the energy goes negative within you. And so it's that time that you need to release, right? And then look at the people around you and say, it's all going to be okay.
But where do you
And
find the strength? The first time that was the
well,
first time
that's a
that
great
happened to you.
question.
No, the first
It's a
time that
great
happened to you was 9/11, or was this
no, no, no,
company?
no. I mean, what I
That
just
one,
explained
this
to you
one.
happened
That
in
was the first time. The
1993.
three earlier.
Yeah, 1993. I
So
mean,
that day when this happened to you for the first time, where do you
that
find the
morning,
strength? Where do you find the
yeah.
strength? Where do you find the
And,
inspiration?
and I'm
Because
in a foreign land that
yeah,
is just
that you
becoming,
don't know the
getting
law,
out
you don't know
of
what's
communism.
happened.
Right,
Yeah,
right. I didn't
probably
know anybody.
they
I
can
didn't.
ask these people who else is in the office, and they maybe can come and write you.
No, I'm
You didn't
telling
know
you,
what's gonna
it's
happen.
a great question.
My
You know,
goodness.
it's one of those. You know, you look. One of my biggest one of my biggest mottos to my team when we're in distress, right? When I come into a situation when we're in distress, is I say to them, guys, we have to burn the boats. And they'll say, what do you mean by burn the boats? I say, think of us as just arriving on an island, okay? There is no retreat. We burn the boats and we move forward on this island.
Mm-hmm.
And we figure out how to
That's
conquer the
how you have
island,
to say.
how to make it, right? So that's the mentality you must have in situations like that. Otherwise,
Even when you don't know the answer yet.
you don't, but you know what? You got to have faith that the answer is going to come, right? You got to
Yeah,
have faith that that things will start. And again, once you start to panic or once you start to doubt yourself, right? Well, as you know, that your team sees that. Your team
absolutely.
feels that. So the last thing you can do at that point
It's
is
panic,
to panic,
everyone. Yeah.
right? And I mean, you must show strength and leadership. You must show complete confidence in the team, complete confidence in your ability to turn it around, and more importantly, their ability to turn it around, right? Because you want to empower them. And that's where another point happens, or another point should really come to mind, and that is you've got to empower your team and get your team to believe that they can do it. And the only way that they're going to do that is if they see it in you. Right.
Jim, and it's easy when it happened the second time, because even this COVID thing was really easy for us. The tough one was the first one with the Airbnb shop, and with a more efficient business model, and that what we had, renting the rooms and everything, and this happened overnight and took a lot of market share for us, and also we were working triple that we used to work before, and the margins reduced. So Second time is easy. It
It's
doesn't mean
easier.
it
It's
doesn't mean
easier, right?
it's easier. Exactly. You get it.
Yes,
You get it.
yes.
At least you can you have some experience, and you can stay calm, and you can enroll your team. But what advice, Jim, do you have, or is in these difficult times, finding the right mentor, finding the right coach to help you out, like we said before, the second time that something happened to you, that business a characteristic change overnight. Would be great if the entrepreneurs that they are facing this for the first time um, can have a kind of mentor, can have a kind of coach, can have someone that they can approach and say, look, it's okay, it's happening to you the first time, and you think that the world is gonna end, but trust me, you only need to be in business for this to
That's
happen
right.
to you. And guess what? Probably it's not gonna be the only time that happened to you. Um, so when because when you have a business, Jim, nobody never think about this, and it
Right.
catch you by surprise.
That's
So
right.
how can we prepare entrepreneurs to know that having a business sometimes is risk involved, and you have to plan and find the right coaches, the right mentors, the right people qualified for you, have them already in the network, have them already knowing. So in the times of crisis comes, they already have all the resources and everything to bring that extra help that help them to turn around, because nobody never think of this, but it's our job as an entrepreneur to protect our business. I never thought that this would happen to me. And it happened to me
Nobody does.
several times. Yeah. So how entrepreneurs can be aware that being in business, this thing can happen, and when, for example, they can find you, they can find resources for those ones that have an existing company right now, and they can have more like a safety net. How this process work?
So one of the key things that I think people miss is they get happy and fat, right? And they don't think about what might go wrong, what could go wrong. Great point is you spoke about COVID. I had a company that was it was actually a client of mine. They had hired me to come in. The company was struggling right before COVID hit. And this company was doing well, but they were undercapitalized. So they didn't have enough financial resources really to support any kind of downturn. They were living, kind of on the edge, although they were making money. Now, in that case, this particular company sourced everything from China.
Wow.
So what happened? In January and February and March,
There was no
product
shipments.
stopped coming.
Yes.
Product stopped coming. And
For months.
this company would, yes, they would sell product from China directly to big box retailers in the United States. And so if you think about it, if they're undercapitalized, right? So in other words, if they don't have enough capital, or I should say sufficient capital to withstand, a downturn or a blip, if you will, then what happens? Well, the shipments stop going to the retailers, which means you're not selling to those retailers, which means you have no accounts receivable, which means you can't borrow against your line of credit because you don't have the receivables. So it's a
Don't
death
even go to a
spiral.
bank. If money's not
No,
coming in, don't even go to a bank to
no.
find
I mean,
finance.
it becomes a death spiral.
Yeah.
And so,
And still you have
when
to pay
that
salary.
happens,
And Jim, and
pardon me?
still you have to pay salary to everybody, right?
No, that's right. That's right. So, at that point, it's a death spiral. There's nothing you can do. And so, what's the lesson there? The lesson there is you must diversify your sourcing. You must diversify your suppliers, right? It had this company
How about don't call you in the last moment? How about don't call you when they are struggling because they say, okay, Jim specialize in distressed companies and everything. So how about that they don't wait until the company is so difficult to turn around? Because it would be nice if they let you know in advance, right?
Well, the thing is, you know, it doesn't hurt to, you know, and of course this also rings true. I mean, you mentioned mentors before. You know, it's always important to have a mentor or more. But also, as you grow the business, it's really important to have a sound board of directors that can become your eyes and ears above what you're seeing. They're experienced. They have
That's the
know-how.
word. That's the
Right.
word. Experience.
So exactly. So they're coming to you and they're saying, wait a minute, have you thought about when are we going to start to diversify here? When are we going to look at diversifying and spreading risk? Now, let's come back to today. I just brought up COVID, but let's come back to today and talk about suppliers and having your suppliers all in one area. Now we talk tariffs, right?
Yeah.
So all of a sudden, let's say you're sourcing everything from Canada today. Well, President Trump, right? But President Trump is still fighting with Canada on tariffs. So he's raised the tariff levels for imports from Canada. Now, what happens if that's your sole country?
Well, some people will go out of business. Some people will go out of business straight away.
Exactly. So, you know, you diversify. I mean, I just gave you two examples of, you know, one in China, one in Canada, one because of COVID, one because of tariffs. So it doesn't matter.
It's always keep happening, Jim. It's always all you need to be in business. It's coming to you whether you like it or not. Otherwise, you cannot be in business. It will come to
that's
you.
exactly right. That's exactly right.
Jim, regarding mentors and coaches, an issue that we see the young entrepreneurs that we have right now is that when they need a mentor and a coach, they're going for Facebook, they're going to Instagram, they find someone there, a mentor, a coach with the Lamborghini, with the big house. Oh, I can coach you, can mentor you. Then they charge a lot of money so that they get a very little value compared with you that have sustained life experience, career, managing hundreds of employees in companies with different backgrounds. And then you go there and if you go talk with this young entrepreneur and say, look, I can mentor you, I can be part of your board of directors, things like this. They are doubting between you and the other person that they find in Facebook, the whatever, with the Lamborghini, with the big house, that yes, have all these things shown to you. Maybe he rented, maybe not belong to himself or whatever. However, it looks shiny object and it looks like a great mentor that can get you quickly, fast to wherever you want. And then this is something that I find frustrating and challenging. How many good people with good experience are out there like you and entrepreneurs again and again taking the wrong decisions, hiding the mentors and the coaches, and then what happens is that then it doesn't work, and then they don't want to see any mentor or any coach anymore, or they lost trust in someone that really an experienced person that really can help them with. Actually, this is the key. I wish that I knew you. When tough time came to me, I wish that I already knew that you exist.
Well, thank you. I'm sorry that you had to go through it. I can tell you that.
Several times.
Yeah, no, it's painful. It's painful.
So you need to be in business. That's
no. I would say it's such a great point you raise as to the one with the Lamborghini and the shiny toys and things like that. I say beware of the wolf dressed in sheep's clothing, right? Right. So that's a key learning point. And look, they may be a great mentor, but what I have always
but for what we're talking about, you do need experience and plenty.
That's right.
This is not an easy turning a company around this trade. This is
no.
This particular topic, you do need to know what you're doing.
Yeah, I know. I agree. And look, the way that I've always tackled things like this is I've always shared the risk with my clients. And what do I mean by that? Um, some people in my industry, actually most people in my industry would, and rightfully so, that you bring experience, you bring know-how, you bring a lot of tools, and you can afford to charge, a rate, that a professional rate that is, market, if you will. What I like to do instead is I like to come in, understand what the needs are, understand what the issues truly are, develop a plan and say, okay, here's the plan. And we're going to achieve this. If we achieve this, then this is what I want in return.
Wow,
Okay.
that's fantastic
If,
because it
well,
removed
it's,
the
you know
risk.
what?
That's
It's
amazing.
called the alignment of interests, right? You align your interests. And I am a big believer in that, whether it's with suppliers,
I
whether
love
it's
it.
with investors, it's called alignment. Everybody is aligned with the strategy. And if you don't have alignment, and I just gave you an example of how I price my engagements, but I will tell you, alignment of interests is a key part of any business. You must have an alignment of interest with your suppliers, like we just talked about diversification. Alignment of interest with your investors, meaning, are they giving you capital that they want back in a year, or are they giving you capital so that you can grow the business in 3 to 5 years, right? Alignment of interest with your customer base, right? Are you serving a customer base that's here today, gone tomorrow, and you have no real sales tomorrow? So alignment of interest is a key point and a key driver to success. And so I always believe that if I align my interests and that they align their interests with me, then we will succeed.
Response to change. This, I love this topic, Jim, that we're talking about because I've been hit several times with it. Let's talk a little bit about structure, something that has saved my company, my company several times to don't collapse. It's about the structure. We have sometime in corporate, Jim, we find these companies that they are like a big boat, like a Titanic, huge Titanic, and it has this, what we call it, a vertical integration with the kind of pyramid scheme management underneath the supervisors, underneath this. So it's all a pyramid like this, like a big, huge boat that if you have to turn right, this boat is gonna take time because it's something huge and you have to move all these elephant all together.
That's right.
I like to see my organization like 3,000 little boats, yeah, where I'm the little boat in the front, and then we have 3,000 boats. So if I say turn right, all the 3,000 little boats, they will turn right faster, and we can respond to change faster. And as you know, companies like, loads of companies has disappeared just because they couldn't respond to change fast. And what challenge, Jim, do you incur when you sometimes you land in this stress company and you find out that there is a huge problem in structure that with that structure they have, they are able to respond to change slow, and this is something that had to be addressed, and it's very difficult because, like I said, you need to take a big boat, a Titanic, and divide it into 3,000 mini boats so they can move fast. And what are the resistance that you find in the legacy? Because there is legacy also in this big organization in terms of employees, softwares, computer things, and all these need to be changed. How you deal with this challenge?
So in a situation like that, you're right. I mean, turning that aircraft carrier in the middle of the ocean is not always easy, right? So you've
sometimes
got
you
to,
already arrive in a structure that was created before you arrive. You have to deal
right.
with,
Most of the time you do.
Yeah.
Most of the time you do. And So what happens when you're in that situation, right? And you're saddled with a organization that's bloated, an organization that was structured for $1 billion in revenue, and it's only doing a $500 million in revenue, and they've lost customer bases, or they've lost, a whole segment of their business. Like, let's talk about, copiers, right? Copiers or fax machines, right? Imagine if your whole business was manufacturing fax machines, right? So I mean, and there's so many examples of industries that have just gone away. And in cases like that, like Kodak, right?
Yeah.
Kodak was a behemoth in its time. In fact, I worked up in Rochester, New York for a client many years ago, and I could see the entire Kodak plant from where my offices were.
Wow.
And it looked like a ghost town, comparatively to what it was in the 60s. So, and Xerox is another example. Xerox, these are examples of companies
they were
that,
huge.
right. And they had
Blockbuster, another
right,
one, I think.
right. And so, again, we mentioned diversification. You've got to have a team. You've got to have people around you that have vision, that can say, you know what, this is where I see the marketplace going. This is where I see our business, or what the market's going to look like in 10 years from now. And we must be ready for it. Xerox is an interesting one, I can tell you. Xerox had basically an R&D laboratory in Palo Alto, California in the 80s. And Xerox, if I'm not mistaken, I believe this is correct. Xerox had, in that facility, they had the first interface design for the mouse.
Oh, wow.
And they gave it away, unbeknownst to them. They gave it away by some visitors that came into and I believe that's an accurate story.
Wow.
And in so giving that away, I mean, so think about that, right? They had the right vision in setting up effectively a think tank, right? For development. And the think tank was doing the right things, coming up with
new ideas,
the interface, the ability to use a mouse, right, and point and click, and they developed that in the 80s.
Wow.
And again, the technology was basically taken from them.
Unbelievable.
Not a shot was fired.
That could save them forever.
Right.
Just that thing.
Right.
Yeah.
So then you see the fall of one company and the rise of another company. For a lot of a lot of the reason being, the transfer of technology. So, that to me is just a great example of not being prepared, not being ready for what the marketplace might look like, or where it might be headed.
How you allocate resources? This is a question, Jim, that, for example, if I give you $100, this is an example so our listener can have an idea how to allocate resources when you have a medium-sized small company, but especially medium-sized and large company. If I give you $100, Jim, out of this budget, how much money would you take to make your product, your actual product, better? And how much money would you take to put it in diversify the company and create other streams of income that can support a massive change in the market conditions, so you can feed the company from another revenue source that you created. So I'm giving you $100. You can tell me, okay, Harry, I take 20 for make the product better, and I take 80 to diversify. I take 1 for this, or I take 50-50. What is your
now
equation?
Is the scenario such that it's a startup, Or is this a scenario
Good
where
question.
the $100?
Good question.
Part,
Why you don't do 3 for me? Why you don't do startup, medium size, and big companies? So all our listeners get the benefit.
So with a startup, I'm taking
Okay,
that
$100 for a startup. Yeah.
Yeah.
You're starting the company. So how much money goes to make this product
I'm
better?
taking the 90% of it.
Wow. For what?
To jump into that market that I believe is the market that is worth pursuing. Right.
Very good.
So
okay, so we will take 90% of the money to 90%. Make the product better, market fit.
Right.
No, and only $10 to put some new ideas or new feature or new things that can bring an extra stream of
That's
income,
right. Because or $10 for administrative and then mind you, there's no dollars available for personnel, etc. Everybody's in this without salaries, without income. This is another example of burn the boats, right? You're going forward. You can't retreat, right? So you take that $100, you take $90 of that, and you're moving towards your market. You're moving towards that product that's attacking that market.
Very good. Now you're medium-sized company. Now you're selling more than $1 million. You're selling between let's call it 10 million to 100 million. Okay. You are in this space. I'm still giving you the $100. Now you have a big organization, thousands of employees on the game. So how much money you will use to diversify in new product, new ideas, new stream of income that can be like an insurance policy to the actual main product that is holding that company, and how much of this money you will take to improve that company?
So the first thing I would do is I would take the first $20 and I would bring in a team to look at the business from the outside and look at it and look at what we believe the vision to be and test the hypothesis of that vision, right? And tell me and tell the board and tell us whether or not this makes sense.
Oh, right? Wow, that's really powerful.
And why it doesn't.
That's a great tip. Amazing.
Right. So then
you have $80 left.
$80. We spend the $80 on diversification.
Oh, wow, really?
Well,
how about improving the existing products that we have?
Well, I was going to say it is
like
product
it. I love your answer.
That includes diversification.
I love your answer. I love it. But this is my question. The $80, if we put the actual product on one part and diversification in the other one would be alternative product, how much out of that one, you have 80 left, how much out of the $80 you will put in improving the actual product that is selling very well, and how much of these $80 left you will put in R&D, to research a new alternative, new spin-off, new product that can to offer to the existing clients that the company already have.
So forgive me for appearing cute with the answer, but I will tell you.
Answer. We love to listen your answer.
A lot of how that I answer that is going to be determined by the first $20 I spent.
Oh, wow.
Right?
Yeah,
see,
of course.
Absolutely. Because that $20 is going towards a group that's going to be able to come in and justify my products that I'm selling today. How profitable are they at the product level? If I'm selling 10 products, 8 of which are profitable, 2 of which are not profitable, do I keep selling those 2? Is there something we're missing on those 2 that I can deploy resources to develop them so that I can raise the profitability? So much depends on the information that we're getting from the first $20 so that we can determine where we're going to go.
Well, Jim, I love your answer because, and I was not expecting this one, but I love it because you're totally right. You know, when especially companies, I always say, you know, when you go from 0 to 1 million, or 1 million to 10 million, it's like from 0 to 1 million. After you reach this 1 million, you have to forget everything, you know. Because from 1 million to 10 million is completely different thing.
That's right.
And then you have to, but then you reach 10 million, you have to unlearn everything and learn again. So what a best way of learning. If you are in the scope already selling more than 10 million, you bring a team, people that knows that they have been grown companies between 10 to 100 million. And they will be like your insurance policy. They will, you will show them the test, the theory that the hypothesis that you have for the company to expand to go to over 100 million. And then of course the rest, the $80 will depend on what these they tell you. Any money for the rainy day, any money from the rainy day from that budget that we can allocate. So it's something, if the market change drastically.
Well, again,
or not yet.
That's why I mentioned diversification.
Or not yet. Or not yet. Well, that's why I mentioned diversification. 100 million, and we don't have time for this.
If I'm coming in and I bring that group in, and they come back to me and they say, listen, you're selling one product, okay, and
Huge
that one
risk.
product you're sourcing 90% of it from China. What do you think I'm going to do? I'm going to run as fast as I can out of China, or at least diversify as fast as I can, right? Because I don't want another 9/11 or a COVID to ruin me, right? But 100%. If they're telling me, no, you have a portfolio of products that are doing well, however, you have a handful that are not doing well, and we look at these and we say that these are loss leaders, meaning you're selling a lot of it. You did that for a period of time, but it's not necessary that you continue these products, and so you discontinue them, or you try to jettison those assets out, right, and save your core.
Yeah. Okay. And lastly, how about 100 million plus? 100 million plus $1 billion? Again, the same $100.
Right. So now
you have a big elephant.
That's right.
Now you have this big Titan in front of you.
You got a big business. You got a big company. The first thing I would do is I would take $10 of the and determine collectively what our path should be. Do we want to sell? Do we want to grow it to 250 million and then take it public? Do we want to grow it to 250 million and sell it? Do we want to go to $250 million, bring in more capital, and take it to $1 billion, right? So the first $10.
I love this, Jim, collectively. I love this.
Yeah. So
you have to enroll everyone, because
that's right.
Alone you cannot do it.
Right. And then the next $90 or $80 is going to be deployed executing that strategy. And of course, as we know, you have a series of costs that will be needed to implement that strategy, whether it's selling the company after growing it to 250, whether it's going public, or whether it's growing it to $1 billion. Now, in the case of selling it at 250, you may have a $100 million business that grew very fast, but yet you don't have the proper infrastructure in place. You don't have
to exit the business. Because he had to run without you. He had to run without you.
You don't have the accounting. You don't have the information that's available so that you could share it with third parties that might have an interest in buying your business. So you may want to spend money on developing that infrastructure so that it can support not only where you are today, but support you getting to 250 so you can sell it, right? So, or if you plan to go public, it's a similar exercise, but going public means you've got a lot more scrutiny associated with the business. And so you have to prepare for that. You have to structure it. That means you need a sophisticated CFO. It means you need a compliance team. You need all these other resources. Now, if you want to grow it to $1 billion, right? Again, you need those resources, but now you need an R&D team. You need an M&A team. Mergers and acquisitions, because you don't want to necessarily grow it organically. You want to grow 100%. It through acquisition, right? So, what those first $10 do determines a lot of the rest of the 90, right?
Excellent. Jim, so if somebody is in love with our conversation, they want to know more about you, or they need help turning around the companies, how people can find you, how this process works?
Sure. So my website is acmcapitalpartners.com. We've been in business for 17 years.
Wow.
I've had the firm for 17 years. We've helped over 150 clients around the globe, literally around the globe,
Wow.
from Central and South America to Asia to Eastern Europe to Europe, to virtually every state in the contiguous.
What there are startups, medium-sized business, large companies?
So I would say that our sweet spot has been between 10 and 100 million. But don't get me wrong, if it's a company that is looking to start up or grow or coming out,
and they have potential to get fast to 0 to 10.
Absolutely.
And they're coachable. Yeah. The most important thing, they're coachable.
That's it.
They're willing to listen.
What I tell my clients,
you can take them on board. Yeah.
You do not want to interfere or to clash with big egos, because it'll never work. If they can check their ego at the door, and if they're able to listen and understand that they don't know everything, right? Then it'll be a much better partnership. I can say that. Yeah.
From 0 to 1, you find loads of this, loads of this issue. 0 to 1 is the worst. 1 to 10 also. After 10, start to, people tend to listen more.
That's right.
And think that they are not a big deal.
That's exactly right.
Oh my God, when you are in 0 to 1, I also was like this, so I'm not complaining. Sometimes I see the entrepreneurs with these big egos, my product is the best. My product is so good that people will come and buy it alone. I don't need to market this thing. I'm a big deal. Sometimes I'm telling them, look, I don't criticize you because I was exactly like you. Right. But I to hear me out. It's not gonna work. You're gonna be so exhausted, and you're gonna. So the faster that you surrender this and start to listen, qualify advice, because that's the other thing when you are in this spot. Is a lot of people come to give you advice, but not everyone is qualified, and especially in this business that we do, which is entrepreneurship. Of course, we need to listen. A lot of people, but they do have to be qualified. A non-entrepreneur giving an advice to an entrepreneur, I always say that is a huge mistake, but this is my opinion. Yeah, a lot of people say that sometimes when I have in my company at the early, they say, Harry, you don't listen. No, I listen, but I listen only the qualified. I'm an entrepreneur and I have a problem, and another entrepreneur come to give me advice, you can make sure 100% that I'm listening to the advice. But if you're not an entrepreneur, you know, beat the company, and you're gonna come to give me advice how to increase sales, I might take the advice, but it doesn't. I don't have. It doesn't weigh so heavy in my decision-making process as a qualifying advice. But this is how I operate. Yeah, because take what we do, Jim. Taking advice from this is you really need experience, people. Okay,
there's no doubt about it.
So thank you so much, Jim, for joining the broadcast, and for all of you following. See you in our next episode of Unstoppable, how brave entrepreneurs like Jim broke that wall and achieved the first million. Bye for now.
Thank you.
Follow us for more interviews with world's most influential, audacious entrepreneurs that overcame challenges and adversity, providing you with the blueprint of how they sold their first million so you can grow your business exponentially.